found, somebody had posted this on Twitter, was, do you guys know Code Pink?
No.
Like they're a women's like anti-war pro-peace group, nonprofit. They were doing a lot of protests during the Iraq War. I think that's when they started.
Okay.
But someone posted on Twitter that Code Pink is hiring a China is not our enemy campaign coordinator.
Really?
Yeah. So Code Pink is about to launch a campaign apparently about how China is not our enemy under the guise of like, anti-war stuff. Right? So, and then under the duties and responsibilities includes create campaigns for new communities to learn about China and engage, identify, solicit, and acquire information about U.S. aggression toward China, and track the lies and hate and develop responses. This is public opinion guidance.
I wonder how they're
the
going to.
CCP.
Yeah, like did they get infiltrated? Like how are they going to talk about like genocide in Xinjiang or organ harvesting?
I mean, that's all American imperialists. Like this is Code Pink. I think is on the kind of tanky side of things when it comes to China.
Okay.
Like their tankies are people who are left leaning but support authoritarian regimes that are left leaning, like China, Cuba.
So it's pink, but with a strong undercurrent of red.
Okay, you could put it that way, sure.
I did put it that way, and I don't have a mute button.
It was just interesting to read this Code Pink LinkedIn job posting, right?
Yeah.
Right after reading this stuff about China's public opinion guidance, because essentially this is what China does, the Chinese Communist Party does. But this particular campaign is being run by a, U.S. nonprofit.
Which China is very good at getting, like, they understand the divides in U.S. society. And so they're good at, like, getting, like, these, kind of fringe groups to help in their authoritarian propaganda.
Yeah.
And so an interesting point we made in that episode about this public opinion guidance is that, what was it, a couple months ago, Xi Jinping gave a speech where it's like China needs to present a, friendlier image to the world. And
lovable, I think, is how it's translated, yeah.
He lovable Pooh Bear. But yeah, and so some people were like, oh, hey, maybe they're going to, ease up a bit on, everything. But then in the same speeches, it was about essentially public opinion guidance, the idea that they're not going to present a more lovable image by changing. They're presenting a more lovable image by squashing anything, any opinion that makes China seem unlovable.
Amplifying the correct opinions, squashing the incorrect opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally used the words international public opinion guidance.
Like
strengthen
applying it internationally.
Yeah, strengthen international public opinion
This
guidance.
is one of those things where they say what they're doing, and just some people just don't get it.
Well, I mean, you have to admit that public opinion guidance is like a very disguised way to talk about what they're talking about,
Yeah, but I don't know. Public opinion guidance. It's like, it sounds creepy to me. Maybe I've read 1984 too much, or been watching the Chinese Communist Party for so long.
I mean, we're in it. I don't know how creepy it sounds to people who aren't paying attention,
Yeah, but
so
like,
how creepy is it? Leave your comments below. On a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I mean, people who watch this are also a self-selecting group of,
Of the millions of people who watch China Unscripted?
Yes. They're very well informed about China is what I'm saying.
They are. I want to talk about China's zero COVID policy, but I think we'll do a small digression. I think this is kind of related to some of the public opinion stuff, is just Elon Musk, the new Tesla showroom in Xinjiang. Like
you could have picked anywhere else. Like, why the genocide place?
Yeah, it's kind of staggering. Like, especially as like Elon Musk, like he'll do his like, I'm a cool super elite billionaire. I'll criticize the elite, but then Tesla showroom Xinjiang.
There was something that the Tesla showroom in Xinjiang had posted on Weibo or something that I'm trying to look for it. There's look at this photo.
Oh gosh.
Tesla,
all right, we'll put that up on
Xinjiang.
screen.
Yeah.
Tesla loves Xinjiang.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why not? It has such great skilled labor because of all those vocational training schools that have taught the locals how to be such good workers.
Yeah. So, I mean, some people have pointed out that Tesla's getting a lot of like bad publicity for this when there are a lot of companies that have, for example, factories in Xinjiang, which might be worse. But, I think it's one of those things where, like, if the NBA has a training center in Xinjiang, which they did for many years, if Tesla has a showroom, and like by pointing out the hypocrisy of these like larger companies, it gets the attention of people essentially.
Right. Especially because there's this idea that Tesla is like one of the good guys, essentially.
Because they're making electric cars?
Yeah.
Or because Elon Musk is cool and was on SNL?
Yeah, mainly the second thing, I guess.
Little column A, little column B.
But yeah, like if this car that you think is great and like going to change the world and make the world a better place, right? And this is what, of course, everyone in tech says, right? Trying to make the world a better place with their product, and in this case, electric cars. And then it's like the place where they're putting ethnic minorities in concentration camps. Like
it's a stark contrast.
It is a stark contrast.
But also Elon Musk got in trouble in China 2 weeks ago for, the Chinese government basically accused him of almost hitting the Chinese space station with his SpaceX satellites.
That's right.
So somebody on Twitter was pointing out that Elon Musk is very confused because he's both trying to hit the Chinese space station and take it down and opening showrooms in Xinjiang.
Well, I wonder if there's this pressure that Tesla is feeling to try to get on the Chinese Communist Party's good side.
Oh, I'm sure.
But like there's no look, Elon, if you're watching this, there's no solution except pulling out of China. You are not going to get on the good side of the Chinese Communist Party. They're going to take advantage of you. They're currently ripping off your technology. They're currently ripping off your battery technology. You're losing that. Later, they're going to rip off your electric car technology. So please get out of China.
For your
own sake.
That was a really good point. I hope we took him off mute. Anderson, dub him in case he was on mute.
But I do think that Elon Musk is naive about China in the sense that a lot of, Western corporations are, where they think that they can play both sides. And it worked for them for many years, right? That they could, have do business in China and do business in the U.S. And
I think it worked out not as well as like it kind of seems on the surface. Because even during that, they were getting hacked. They were losing their technology.
But not every company had that happen.
Well, it was less reported than, because these companies didn't want to, their stocks to crash when it came out that they had been hacked. So this is something we know that a lot of companies just didn't report.
Yeah, some experts have said that virtually every American company that's gone to China has been hacked or infiltrated to some degree.
But they still thought it was worthwhile to keep being in China.
Yeah, but
most companies have not pulled out.
Yeah, but there's a kind of herd mentality. And we'll see it when there's a critical mass of companies pulling out, that other companies will suddenly become virtuous and pull out. But it's actually like people said go into China, and there was this trend, and then, everyone had FOMO. So they wanted to go in too, and everyone wants to get in China. And then no one wants to admit that they were actually wrong to have followed the herd and gone into China, even though they lose money. And then to a degree, the CEOs don't necessarily care, because some of them are a bit unscrupulous, and they know that, they serve as CEO for 5-10 years and they get their golden parachute and they're out. So it's actually not even a huge deal if 10 years down the line their product is ripped off. Now, I'm not saying all CEOs are like this, but there certainly would be some that are, so that just don't care enough. And then what we're going to see, though, like there will be some point at which I think corporate America recognizes how bad it is to be in China now. And they're going to, of course, blame it on the latest circumstances, not that they were wrong all along, even though you have been.
Well, you are kind of seeing this already, like what Jim Cramer said, another prominent bond guy said China is uninvestable.
This is just the beginning, and I'm not sure if this is like the beginning of the wave or just like a small blip in the wave. Like the wave might not come now. It might come if there's an attack on Taiwan, for example. It might come with some other event or issue that China caused. I mean, I thought COVID would surely
that's a great
wake people up, and you guys didn't wake up. And by you guys, I'm talking about these billionaire CEOs who are obviously watching our podcast.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's here yet. For example, what I was talking about was more that, like, in terms of U.S.-China law, like, companies could play both sides, right? They could do things in China and do things in the U.S., and they wouldn't get penalized for it. But now things like the Uyghur Forced Labor Act, right, that was just signed into law last month, where now if you have products coming in from Xinjiang, you have to be able to guarantee to the U.S. government that they are not made with slave labor, or else you can't import them.
Yeah, which is a very high bar.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies are beginning to just pull out of Xinjiang because that's easier to do.